Chapter 1261 Two bitches got together. Crooked Neck thought about it and felt that something wasn't right. Hey, Sister Che, I'm asking you how come your Gu Jingzes don't divert the topic? Lin Che asked, what's there to say about this? We got married a long time ago, and just hid it from the public. Oh my god, that's Gu Jingze. That's the Gu Industries. It's no wonder you weren't worried previously about the Gu Industries coming to deal with us. Lin Che said, that's right. If Shui Mengqi knows that it's me, it's likely that she won't continue to go against us. She's someone who wants to keep face. Crooked Neck looked at the ceiling. Oh my god, I really want to know how Chen Wei feels after finding out about this. He had been saying how powerful the Gu Industries was, and that we won't be able to put up a fight against them. He feels that the Gu Industries is too powerful and that's why he betrayed us. What he didn't know is that we have the Gu Industries backing us up in the first place. Lin Che said, that's why they say that people are always looking for reasons to justify their choices. Sigh, right now, he can only accept the consequences of his choice. Crooked Neck said, I'm full of anticipation what kind of expression Chen Wei would have after finding out how ridiculous his betrayal is. Lin Che smiled. She also had the same anticipation. On the other side, An Lan returned home and cried to her family about what had happened. Dad, how could Black Eagle do that to me? You have no idea how many people were watching then. How could he be so arrogant? And Guodong looked at her. This Black Eagle is really unreasonable. He sighed, gave it some thought, and then said, but we can't raise a hand against him. In terms of power, we're definitely no match for them. You can only bear with it. Dad, but I can't take this lying down. So what if you can't take it lying down? Who asked you to go offend Black Eagle? Alright, you might not know this, but this person is arrogant and scary. Ordinary people can't compare against him. Dad, are you going to let him bully us like this? An Lan looked at her father in disbelief. Was the An family no match for Black Eagle? This isn't the time to be swayed by personal feelings. The important thing is that Black Eagle is someone without any baseline. We are people with a baseline, but he doesn't have any. So what do you want to compete with him for? That's enough. Go back first. Don't care about these. An Lan was almost driven crazy. She had been humiliated for no reason, yet no one in her family wanted to do anything about it. An Lan left angrily. She went to a cafe outside and saw a group of people who looked very strict. It seemed that some important people had come to this cafe. An Lan also had people with her, and she looked over, unwilling to accept this. She felt that the An family wasn't weaker compared to others, so why was it that other people could act so arrogantly but she couldn't? An Lan's attendant asked her, young miss, where are we going? An Lan pointed to the cafe where there were people guarding it. Let's go over there. Her attendant looked over. It seems to have been sealed. An Lan turned and scolded her angrily. So what if it has been sealed? What are we lacking in? You guys can't win against Black Eagle in a fight. You can't win against these people either. If that's the case, what's the use of having you? The few servants quickly said, that's not it, that's not it. Young miss, we just don't want to bring you any trouble. Young miss is right, we are in no way worse off than any other people. It's just that our An family is too humble and keeps a low profile. An Lan snorted and walked over directly. When she was stopped at the door, she pointed inside angrily. Who are you guys? Is this your shop? Who are you to stop me from entering? The few of them looked at An Lan, then at the people behind her. They didn't say anything but continued to block her path. At this moment, the people behind An Lan no longer dared to hide anymore. They quickly went up. The people in the shop were all on tenterhooks with the two groups of people facing off in a confrontation. However, at this moment, Miss An Lan looked inside. Your Gu families. An Lan had met this lady, who was now wearing a smile, back at the Gu family mansion. However, she had forgotten who this person was. Inside, Shui Mengqi smiled and said, Miss An, I'm Shui Mengqi. Miss Shui. An Lan knew about her. This Shui Mengqi had the capability to fight for the chance of becoming the mistress of the Gu family. Recently, there had been many people talking about her. The two of them no longer had daggers drawn at each other and went in to take a seat. An Lan couldn't hold it in and started complaining about Lin Che. After all, she knew that Shui Mengqi and Lin Che definitely weren't on good terms with each other. The two of them were definitely competitors. Miss Shui, that Lin Che in the Gu family really leaves a lasting impression on me. Hearing that, Shui Mengqi's brows raised up. Not everyone in the Gu family is like that. Hearing that, and Lan started to complain more to Shui Mengqi. She said that she had been humiliated yesterday and that Lin Che was very arrogant and disgusting. Shui Mengqi smiled as she looked at her, occasionally say a few words to sow discord. When An Lan heard that, she felt even more furious. She said outright, HMPH, she's just using Gu Jingze as her shield. Now that Gu Jingze has lost his memories, she is enjoying playing the role of the queen. She must be very happy to have the Gu family under her control. Shui Mengqi's hand that was holding onto her coffee cup paused. What did you say? What happened to Gu Jingze? An Lan almost bit her own tongue. She had let it slip. Shui Mengqi narrowed her eyes and broke into a smile. Gu Jingze has lost his memories. An Lan didn't know what to say and could only smile awkwardly. A gleam shone in Shui Mengqi's eyes, but she immediately looked at An Lan warmly. Miss An, don't worry, we're on the same line. Don't we both see Lin Che as our enemy? Lin Che was at home when Mu Wanqing suddenly called. Lin Che, our family is saying that Xiyuan's 2-year-old birthday is coming up soon, and hope to celebrate her birthday for her. It was because ever since she was born, she had never gotten a proper banquet nor did she meet anyone before. They hope to take this opportunity to let others get to know the Gu family's third miss. Lin Che asked, whose idea is this? Usually, Mu Wanqing wouldn't initiate such things. It was because Gu Jingze didn't like these things either. Therefore, the child's 1-month-old banquet wasn't held either, nor were there any birthday banquets held. Mu Wanqing said, it was suggested by the Gu family's relatives. I didn't know how to refuse them. Lin Che had a faint feeling that something was amiss. Mom, things are probably not that simple. Was it Shui Mengqi who had proposed this to the Gu family's relatives? Mu Wanqing gave it some thought and felt that what Lin Che said made sense. I also feel that there might be some reason behind this, but what should we do now? Lin Che said, Shui Mengqi might be up to some scheme again. But Gu Jingze hasn't been meeting people during this time. If he were to refuse this as well, some people might start to feel suspicious. You feel that Shui Mengqi has started to suspect something? That's right, it's either that she's feeling suspicious or that she has already found out. Anyway, this definitely has some relation with her. Mu Wanqing felt very consoled, feeling that things had been very tough on Lin Che recently, but it was worth it. Lin Che had grown a lot, making Mu Wanqing felt both surprise and admiration. After all, Lin Che was also very smart. It was just that she didn't used to care much about fame. Therefore, she couldn't be bothered to think about these things. Even though she was forced to step forward now, she was also capable of holding up to things. Chapter 1262 The Children's World. The Gu family had put in a lot of effort into Xiyuan's birthday celebration. As it was proposed by the relatives, they were also the ones who prepared it. Handing the preparation to the relatives would only make it more lavish. Unlike how Gu Jingze liked to keep things on a low profile, the other relatives felt that they shouldn't take things about Gu Jingze's daughter simply. They wanted the best in everything, to show that they viewed this third miss in high regards. The reason she was referred to as third miss was because there were the eldest young master Nianian, and the second miss Little Nian. She was ranked third amongst them, and thus referred to as third miss. That night, the entire manor that the relatives spent money to reserve, was completed filled with decorations. The place was brightly lit from inside out. Amidst the entire world of white, there was even artificial snow. The children from the various relatives' families were on the ground, playing. Nianian brought Union over. Union hadn't been happy recently as Uncle Mo and her mom had fallen out. It had been very long since she had a meal together with Uncle Mo, and it had been very long since she had Uncle Mo tell her a bedtime story. Nianian saw that she wasn't in a good mood and thus brought her over to cheer her up. Li Wei was also with them, following behind them. There were little Nian from Gu Jingming's family and little Pinguo from Lu Baikan's family. The few children were about the same age and usually played with each other at the kindergarten as well. Naturally, all of them had come here with Nianian. There were too few boys and too many girls. Gu Shinian was the one who took the lead, followed by Li Wei, who tried to help out. When Union sat there, Li Wei quickly ran around to get her a drink, as well as bring her fruits and snacks. However, Union still wasn't in a good mood. She kept on pouting as she looked in front of her. It was until she saw Mo Jingyan here that she quickly jumped up. "Uncle Mo!" She skipped toward him, calling out. Mo Jingyan walked over and carried her up. "Good Union." Union cried as she looked at him. "Uncle Mo, you don't want me and my mama anymore." Black Eagle frowned. "How can that be possible? Then why doesn't mama goes to uncle's place anymore? Why don't I go to uncle's place anymore either?" Black Eagle stroked her fringe. "It's because your mama is angry with an uncle, but she'll be appeased very soon. You should try to coax your mama more as well, getting her to forgive uncle earlier. Uncle will be able to go back then." Union nodded, wiping away her tears. "When I get back, I'll tell mama to quickly forgive uncle. I want uncle to tell me bedtime stories." Black Eagle kissed her dotingly on the forehead. "Good. Uncle will go visit you every day in the future, telling you bedtime stories." Alright. Gu Jingze watched at the side. "Is uncle going to use an indirect method?" Black Eagle lowered his head and asked, "What do you know?" Gu Jingze crossed his arms in front of his chest. "I told you that you should have told the truth earlier, but you didn't." Black Eagle felt that being reprimanded by a child was really speechless. He narrowed his eyes and glared at Gu Jingze. But if he said the truth then, Mu Feiren might not have bothered with him then. With him saying the truth at this stage, at least, there'd be some feelings between them. Even if Mu Feiren refused him, she wouldn't be that determined. Right now, he still had a little bit of hope. "Uncle Mo, Mr. Kai is inviting you to head over." Black Eagle nodded and wanted to head off socialize with others. Black Eagle wanted to leave, but Union pulled at his sleeves, unwilling to let him go. Black Eagle sighed, lowered his head, and said, "Come along. I'll bring you along, all right." Hearing that, Union smiled happily. Black Eagle wasn't angry with Union at all. He carried her up and walked over. Union, who was carried by Black Eagle, sat in his arms, behaving herself. Everyone was a little surprised as they looked at Black Eagle. Why was there a child in his arms? Gu Jingze shook his head, not knowing what to say. Li Wei asked, why did he bring Union away with him? Gu Jingze looked at Li Wei. "If you wish to marry Union in the future, you'll have to get into his good books." Li Wei's face was flushed red. "Who wants to marry? We're still young. What rubbish are you spouting about?" Gu Jingze had his small hands behind his back, appearing like a little adult. Although the adults had their own circles, the children had their own circles as well. And this circle would more or less be related to the adults. It was because the relatives would definitely remind their child who those people were, and who they might become in the future. A few of them were direct descendants of the Gu family and were different from the other relatives. The relatives reminded their own children, "Don't create any trouble with those children over there." Why? The children were all puzzled. What are their identities? They are direct descendants and will be inheriting the position of the head of the Gu family in the future. They are closer between themselves and not with you. It's fine if you guys want to go over and play, but you must be careful. You can spend time with them, but don't kick up a fuss. No matter what, you must remember the importance of seniority. You have different statuses as well. If things blow up, even we won't be able to help you. The children were all very lost, but after being threatened, they felt that they might really be different from those children. Therefore, they kept their distance from them. In fact, Gu Jingze and Lin Che had never told the children about the differences in social statuses. Gu Jingze had never thought that he was any different from other children either, even though it was true that he didn't care for ordinary children and felt that they were very childish. However, they could still only play with each other. It was because the attitude the other children had when they came over made them felt uncomfortable. Some of them acted very carefully while others harbored hostility due to the influence of their parents. Thus, many looked at them with strange gazes. As time passed, these children formed their own groups as well. After all, everyone wanted to play together with people they were comfortable with. Little Pinguo and Little Nian got along well together. It was because they could be considered to have grown up together. Things were the same for Gu Jingze and Union as well. Although Li Wei had only joined in recently, he had slowly gotten along with the group. They were very comfortable together and got along well, so they sat down together. Nianian, why hasn't your younger sister come out yet? Little Pinguo asked. I don't know, maybe mama is dolling her up. Lin Che usually loved to dress Gu Xiuan up in pretty clothes, and would spend a lot of time each time. Dolling up. Nianian said, you women are troublesome. Little Pinguo said, you're spouting rubbish. I'm a girl. Nianian glared at her. You'll also become a woman in the future. You'll be like your mama, a pain when you go out. You're spouting rubbish. My mama isn't that much a pain. Gu Xinian said, what do you mean that aunt isn't that much a pain? She would need to take at least an hour to doll up every time she goes out. That's because my mama is beautiful, HMPH. Sigh, I just can't chat with women. Hey, your sister is out. Gu Xiuan was brought out by her nanny, staggering as she walked out. Although children would have learned to walk at 2-year-old, they would always appear unstable when they did. The servant held onto her from behind, but Xiuan still sat right down on the ground. The servant quickly wanted to pull the child up. Chapter 1263 doted a lot on his younger sister. It's fine, let me. Gu Xinian had already run over, frowning as he carried Gu Xiuan. Gu Xiuan was very chubby, and when Gu Xinian carried her, he looked like he was carrying a ball of flesh. The servant quickly said, young master, I'm sorry. We weren't careful. Gu Xinian waved his hand. Gu Xiuan held onto him. Brutta, brutta, brutta. She couldn't speak clearly and kept calling Gu Xiuan. Even her voice sounded weird. Gu Xinian frowned. It's brother. It's brutta. Gu Xiuan saw cakes that looked delicious and struggled to get down. Gu Xinian had no choice but to follow her. Gu Xiuan picked up a piece of cake with her chubby hand and stuffed it into her mouth. Two children who were about 7 to 8 years old started laughing when they saw Gu Xiuan acting like this. It was because Gu Xiuan had poor eating manners and even dropped some cake onto the floor. One of the children immediately picked up the cake, wanting to mess with Xiuan. Eat it, eat it, eat it quickly. These extremely dirty ones tastes the best. Gu Xiuan was still too young and naturally didn't know anything. She reached out her hand for it. Just then, Gu Xinian slapped the cake onto the ground. The two children were given a shock. When they looked up, they noticed Gu Xinian's sharp gaze, looking coldly at the two older children who were taller than him. The two children were clearly frightened by Gu Xinian. Pick it up and eat it yourself. Gu Xinian said harshly. One of the children's face flushed up. What do you want? We were just kidding. Gu Xinian carried Gu Xiuan up, picked up a new piece of cake, carefully removed the fruit that was too big, and coaxed her into eating the cake. Have this. Don't eat the one that's on the floor and is dirty. After saying that, Gu Xinian stomped on the cake that was on the ground and then looked at the two children. Didn't you say that dirty ones taste the best? Eat that up right now. The two children's countenance changed. They didn't know of the ways of the world, and looked at Gu Xinian. They said, what are you doing? I'm going to call my mama. You're a bully. Gu Xinian said, I'm bullying you. Li Wei was also following behind. He saw this and said, who asked you to bully Gu Xiuan? She is Gu Xinian's precious baby sister. They were really courting death, daring to bully Gu Xinian's sister in front of him. Although Gu Xinian would often say that women were really troublesome, he doted a lot on Gu Xiuan. People who dared to do anything to Gu Xiuan were definitely courting death. That child immediately broke into tears, scared by Gu Xinian. He went inside, crying. Mommy, Gu Xinian is a bully. Boo-hoo-hoo, he told me to eat something he stepped on. I'm not going to eat that. It's so dirty. What? The relative who heard that was very surprised. She saw Gu Xinian standing tall, with his sister who was still stuffing food with his mouth. Gu Xinian's eyes were gleaming with danger, not seeming to be showing any leniency. He looked just like his father. However, it was overboard and too much a bully to get their child to eat cake that had been stepped on. She immediately pulled her child over, reprimanding and educating Nianian as if he was a child. Nianian, children can't be so bad. How can you let your older brother eat a cake that you've stepped on? You're embarrassing your parents like that. How did your older brother offend you? No matter how unhappy you are, you can't bully people like this. This will seem as if you have poor upbringing, isn't that right? Gu Jingze snorted coldly. He has to eat it no matter what. Nianian, Aunt here is going to help your mother teach you a lesson. Even if our child is just a child from the Gu family's relatives, he shouldn't be easily bullied. Do you still care for me as a senior? When that child saw his parent standing on his side, he immediately put out his tongue at Gu Jingze. Oh, I really don't care about you. He has to eat it no matter what. He then called for the guard at the side. Bring it over for him to eat. Seeing that Gu Jingze had mobilized the guards, that mother panicked. However, not everyone had guards with them. She was just a woman amongst the Gu family's relatives and had no right to their protection. Therefore, there wasn't anyone around who could help here. She looked at this child and cried out in astonishment, Aya, is there anyone who is going to take this kind in hand? Is Gu Jingze going to kill me? At this moment, the child's father immediately noticed her. Compared to the child's mother who was being protective of her son, when the father saw Gu Jingze, his countenance immediately changed. Nianian, what happened? He pulled his wife and son to his side, glaring at his wife to get her to shut up. Gu Jingze said, your son picked up something on the floor for Xiuan to eat. He even said that dirty things taste delicious. I'm just trying to get him what he wishes for. The man's countenance changed. It's our fault. We didn't teach our son well. He went up to pull the hiding child out to the open. Apologize quickly. Hey, why are you beating the child like that? The heart of the child's mother was aching for him. The man pulled out the child and said, apologize quickly. The child kept on crying, but was also frightened by his father. He quickly said, I'm sorry. I won't do it anymore. Seeing this, Gu Jingze waved his hand at the guard at the side. The guard came over to clean up the place. Gu Jingze took Gu Xiuan's hand. Let's go. What else do you want to eat? Ice cream. Come, I'll bring you to go get ice cream. Gu Jingze left with Gu Xiuan. The child's mother was furious. You're really good. To think that you're so scared of a child. Are you crazy? That's the child from Gu Jingze's family. So what? Even so, he can't humiliate people like this. The child's mother hugged her son angrily, her heart aching for her. What do you know? He has already started to come into contact with Gu family's businesses with Lin Che. He would even be present during the shareholders' meeting. Do you think that your child can compare to him? This kid is very vicious. He has already fired a gun and seen blood despite his young age. Do you want to die? Hearing that, the woman shivered. She pouted and said, it's all because he has poor upbringing and is spoiled. Our child was never like this. HMPH, even if your son wants to, he must also have Gu Jingze's status and intellect. Go let your son try. He won't even be able to recognize all the words. HMPH, is he going to make a joke of himself? Lin Che quickly heard about this matter. After a guard came to inform her, she waved her hand to send him off. She said to Gu Jingze, Nianian dotes on Xiuan too much. I really couldn't tell that he was such an elder brother. In the beginning, she was worried that Gu Jingze didn't seem to like girls much. However, all the things that Gu Jingze did later took everyone by great surprise. Not only did he dote on Gu Xiuan more and more, he had even done so to an uncontrollable degree. Chapter 1264 We know about Gu Jingze's matter. This wasn't something that was suddenly discovered, but more on a gradual basis. Gu Jingze would take special care of his young sister, and no matter what his sister wanted to do, he would agree. It seemed that although Gu Xiuan was very young, she was very smart and knew how to assess people's moods. When she saw that she was being doted on, she would keep asking for food to eat. She wouldn't do it outright, but she would just lie down on her stomach at the side and ask, brother, does that taste good? She didn't know many words, but she could remember words relating to food especially well. If Gu Jingze didn't reply, she would keep asking, Brutta, does that taste good? Gu Jingze would be left with no choice but to share everything he had with her to eat. Afterward, when she saw things that other people were eating, she would look at Gu Jingze pitifully and ask, Brutta, does that taste good? Gu Jingze, being such a cold person, would end up having to ask food from others for his younger sister. The two children looked especially sweet together. During times like this, Lin Che would feel that it was right for her to give birth to Gu Xiuan. It allowed Gu Xinian, who had been too independent and not very emotional since young, to have something else to find sustenance in emotionally. He also experienced more and more emotions from there. At this moment, a servant came up to say that the preparations for the birthday celebration were ready. Lin Che headed outside together with Gu Jingze. Only once they were outside, they brought along Gu Xiuan, who was dressed up like a little princess, with them. However, this little princess was a little chubby. Children would look cute when they were a little chubbier. As Gu Xiuan could really eat a lot, she appeared very round, like a ball. Moreover, her small face bore a huge resemblance to Gu Jingze. It was clear that she would grow up to become a great beauty. She had big glistening eyes, a small adorable mouth, double eyelids, and long fan-like lashes. She didn't need any additional touches to look very pretty. Of course, her teeth had just started to grow out and looked especially small. The child entered together with Lin Che. Although she was still young, she held herself well with a good disposition. Of course, it was also very likely that it was because everyone knew that she was Gu Jingze's daughter and thus, would unknowingly look at her as if she had an additional glow. Lin Che looked at the place. It was made into a big affair, with a corridor decorated with countless flowers. They seemed to have put in a lot of effort into this. Lin Che sighed. This didn't look like a birthday party for a child. It was more like a socializing event for adults. She could hear someone saying at the back, "Look at their daughter's birthday party. As expected of one born with a silver spoon. If you're jealous, then go have a baby with Gu Jingze. I don't have that luck." Lin Che also felt that this birthday party was too big, but since it was the relatives' kind intentions and they were the ones who had spent the money on this, there was nothing that Lin Che could do either. Thankfully, the child was still young and didn't understand all these. Next time, she must tell them not to spend so much money. It'd be fine to get everyone together for a meal. She didn't feel that it was good for the children to bring them up with such great vanity. Gu Xinian doting on Gu Xiuan was something he should be doing. He was her older brother, and it wouldn't be bad no matter how much he doted on her. However, if outsiders doted on her as well, that would be wrong. Happy birthday. Oh my, the child is too beautiful. She's definitely going to grow up to become a great beauty. She's too adorable. She's so chubby. What does she eat? How can she be so cute? Everyone's praises were heartfelt. They looked at the child and felt that her genetics were really good. Both her parents were good looking, so she wouldn't look bad in the future either. She'd definitely charm many men. It was clear from how her mother was a woman who had allured so many men. The child wouldn't be bad in the future. But at that moment, Gu Jingze, you said that you were going to marry me. Why didn't you? A voice suddenly rang out at the door. Everyone was taken by surprise. When they turned, they suddenly saw a lunatic dressed in battered clothes and having a strong stench. Wherever she ran by, everyone would cover their noses and avoid her. The person just charged in like that, taking everyone by surprise. Oh my, who is that? Why did a lunatic run in? Who was she calling? Lin Che was stunned. That was that Mo Hilling. She looked toward Gu Jingze, who was still standing at the side, frowning and looking surprised. He didn't recognize who Mo Hilling was. It was because he had completely lost his memories. Mo Hilling had gone crazy, but when she saw Gu Jingze, her clouded eyes suddenly lit up. She ran right over toward Gu Jingze. Jingze, I knew it. I knew that you still love me. This is our wedding, right? Are you going to marry me? Gu Jingze stood there, watching without moving. By this time, the guards had already gone up to stop Mo Hilling, dragging her out. However, stop it. It's a birthday party today. Why be so violent? Shui Mengqi walked over and looked at Gu Jingze. Jingze, do you know who this is? Seeing that, Lin Che walked over. She was just about to say something but Shui Mengqi was prepared for her. Lin Che, what are you doing? This is Gu Jingze's matters. You aren't needed to say anything. Shui Mengqi, what do you want? Lin Che looked at her. Shui Mengqi snorted. Why, do you feel that Gu Jingze won't be able to say this woman's name, and so you want to stop me? Lin Che was stunned. As expected, Shui Mengqi had found out. Lin Che's lips curled up. What are you saying? Shui Mengqi said, everyone, I recently heard that Gu Jingze has lost his memories. What? How can that be? Lost his memories? He doesn't look that way to me. A commotion broke out. Shui Mengqi looked at Lin Che. And this woman here hid the news of Gu Jingze having lost his memories, taking him under his control and commanding everyone else. Right now, the Gu family no longer goes by the surname Gu, but is going to change its name to Lin. Lin Che's countenance changed slightly. Shui Mengqi said, "Am I right?" Lin Che said, "The Gu family's name is still Gu." Shui Mengqi said, "It's useless no matter what you say now. I'm only asking you this one thing. Did he lose his memories?" Gu Jingze watched on by the side, and Lin Che stood next to him. Shui Mengqi said, "It's fine even if you don't say it. Let Gu Jingze say what is this woman's name." Lin Che said, "In order to frame us, you've even gone to the extent of bringing Mo Hilling to my daughter's birthday party." Lin Che spoke out Mo Hilling's name directly, and Shui Mengqi stared with wide-open eyes. "Lin Che, you said the name on purpose." Lin Che feigned ignorance. "Oh, why don't I know that?" Shui Mengqi narrowed her eyes. "Even if you said her name, it can only mean that you're feeling guilty. Gu Jingze has already lost his memories, but yet you're hiding this from everyone. What are you scheming?" Lin Che said, "I don't know what you're talking about. It's no use for you to feign ignorance. We request that you to leave the Gu Industries." Chapter 1265. Had he regained his memory? At the moment, Lin Che was standing right in the center. For some reason, she was not afraid at all. She merely looked at these people, her mind unexpectedly calm. They were not trying to do anything to Gu Jingze. They were trying to drive her out. More specifically, Shui Mengqi did not want her to do anything further in the Gu Industries and have the opportunity to expand her reputation and power, so she was in a rush to drive her out of the Gu Industries. In reality, she did not actually want to control the Gu Industries either. But Gu Jingze had lost his memories now. There were some things he could not remember. They did not know what information they could believe and what information they could not. Thus, Lin Che had to be by his side to assist him. However, she would not stay in the Gu Industries if there was genuinely no need for that. Shui Mengqi looked at Lin Che. "Why, you're reluctant to leave, is that it?" Shui Mengqi continued, "We don't want to do anything to the master. As long as you leave, we'll take it that you're not holding him hostage to command his subordinates. Otherwise, how can you prove that you're not interested in the Gu Industries?" Lin Che quietly looked at the crowd and nodded. "Sure, I'll leave." Seeing that she had finally said she would leave, Shui Mengqi's expression immediately became much more relaxed. Shui Mengqi said, "We're not targeting you either. We just want to ensure that the Gu family's business is kept safe. We hope you can understand." However, just then, at the side, Mo Hilling, who had been restrained earlier, suddenly looked over and started shouting. "Ah, you're Lin Che. You're Lin Che. That's right, you're Lin Che." When she saw her most hated enemy, with strength she did not know she possessed, Mo Hilling immediately pushed aside the person beside her and rushed towards Lin Che. She was very quick. She swiftly picked up the fork on the Western-style plate and stabbed it directly towards Lin Che. Lin Che saw a flash of light. She felt as if she was on the brink of death, causing her to feel suffocated for a moment. However, at this moment, someone suddenly pulled her aside. Following this, the fork let out a sound of it piercing flesh. Ah, Gu Jingze. President Gu. What happened to the master? Quick, chase this mad woman out. Lin Che could only see fresh blood flowing from Gu Jingze's waist. All of the people around her instantly ran towards him. They carried Mo Hilling out directly. Gu Jingze was surrounded by people and clutched at his waist all of a sudden. Shocked, Lin Che hastily grasped his hands and helped him hold the fork in place. Gu Jingze, don't scare me. You're fine, right? I'll call for the doctor right now." The people around them were struck dumb at the moment. No one was moving, they were merely staring at Gu Jingze. Lin Che looked up and shouted, "What are you looking at? Quick, get the doctor ready." Everyone regained their senses only then. In the hospital, the doctors were carrying out emergency treatment. Lin Che watched on from the side. She had not even noticed that half of her shawl had fallen off her shoulder. From the side, Li Mingyu approached her. He immediately fixed her shawl for her. "Sorry." He looked at Lin Che. I didn't notice that someone had actually taken Mo Healing away. Lin Che looked at him. How did they take her away? I haven't been in M Nation at all recently. He continued, so their supervision probably became a bit laxer. They gathered up the courage to tell me only after she had gone missing for a day. I searched everywhere when I found out too. I didn't think that the Gu family's clan relatives would bring her here. Lin Che said, that's not your fault. She was merely a bit tired. She leaned back and looked inside. Li Mingyu looked at the faint sadness and concern on her delicate face. His heart ached as well. Lin Che, don't be too worried. I know. Gu Jingze will be alright. It's just that he has been afflicted with too many injuries. I'm a bit tired. I find it very tiring that I have to worry like this each time he gets injured. Li Mingyu sighed and moved closer. It's more dangerous when you're at the top. Indeed, it was more dangerous at the top. She looked at Li Mingyu coolly. Her expression truly made Li Mingyu suddenly feel that he could actually give up the world for her, just to win a smile from her. He said, this Shui Mengqi. I will definitely deal with her once and for all. How dare she go to my territory and kidnap someone? Enough. How will you deal with her? She's backed by the powerful Gu family. If you don't want to cause a war, don't mess around. He asked, do I, Li Mingyu, look like someone who's afraid of war? But I am. Lin Che looked at him. I don't want to see anyone around me get hurt or die again. Fine. If you don't like it, I won't do it. I won't kill her immediately. I'll play with her slowly. HMPH. Lin Che shook her head helplessly. This Li Mingyu. At this moment, Mr. Gu is fine now. The doctor came out while sweating profusely. Lin Che approached him immediately. There was no injury to his internal organs. Yes, Mr. Gu is extremely fortunate. His liver was slightly injured, but luckily, he's fine. Lin Che inhaled deeply. The liver has a very good restorative capability. Don't worry. Lin Che asked, where is he? He's still in a coma. Lin Che walked in and came to Gu Jingze's side. She saw that there was a white bandage wrapped around his body again. She sighed as she sat down beside him. She drew in a deep breath as she clutched his hands. Gu Jingze, you must wake up fine. Just then, she saw Gu Jingze slowly open his eyes. Gu Jingze, you're awake. Lin Che, he frowned slightly. Lin Che said, I'm here. You scared me out of my wits earlier. Gu Jingze said, where am I? Where's An Lan? She drugged me unconscious. When I escaped her subordinates were probably chasing me. Lin Che froze. An Lan. What was he saying? It registered in her mind all of a sudden. Then, Lin Che said in pleasant surprise, Gu Jingze, you remember it now. He squinted his eyes and looked at Lin Che. Lin Che said, you can't have forgotten what happened over the past few days, right? You returned from M Nation a long time ago. I searched for you and brought you back. Then you lost your memories. Gu Jingze's eyes froze as if he was slowly regaining his memory. I remember. You're right, but I feel like I was dreaming. So it wasn't a dream. Lin Che was extremely worked up. Although there had been no drawbacks during the time he had lost his memories, he had lost something after all. Now that he had suddenly regained his memory after being stimulated, of course, she was excited. Lin Che said, everything is fine as long as you can get better. She slowly held his hands and looked at him. A short while later, outside. Gu Jingze walked out with her supporting him. Shui Mengqi looked at him and thought to herself that he truly had the devil's luck. Gu Jingze narrowed his eyes. Qin Hao, remove the group of security guards outside. From today onwards, the security guards at home will come from my personal army. Everyone froze. They all saw Gu Jingze's eyes flash coldly as he held his wound. Right now, he was different from his earlier self. He was like a sword that had just been unsheathed. There was a thorough sternness about him. Chapter 1266 I don't want the position of master anymore. Shui Mengqi's eyes twitched. Master, you. Gu Jingze looked at her. Who was the one who let Mo Healing in earlier? Under his gaze, Shui Mengqi suddenly let off a shiver. Gu Jingze scoffed. The security guards outside can't even make sure such things don't happen. They can allow a lunatic to come into the house and injure someone. Which family do these security guards belong to? Everyone went completely silent and looked at each other. This banquet had been organized by the clan relatives. Naturally, the security guards outside were also from their families. At this moment, Shui Mengqi looked at him and asked, "Master, have you regained your memory?" Gu Jingze looked at her. "Shui Mengqi, haven't you been racking your brains with the precise intention of driving my wife out of the Gu family? You probably know better than me why you want to do that. You want the position of the mistress. You've made your rapacious ambition abundantly clear." Shui Mengqi immediately said, "Master, what has this got to do with me? I have merely been pushed forward by everyone to compete for the position of mistress. And this is all because you spoil Lin Che to a terrifying extent, causing us to lack a sense of security. As the master, the first thing you should do is to increase the sense of security in the Gu family. That's the only way we can work together with a common purpose. But now, because of this woman's interference, the Gu family has become internally riddled with numerous loopholes. We want her to leave the Gu family now also because we're worried and afraid. Our trust in you is also decreasing. I can forego the position of mistress and everything else too. The only thing we want is for Lin Che to withdraw from all the companies in the Gu family's name." As they listened to Shui Mengqi's words, everyone felt that they made a lot of sense. Immediately, many of them started shouting, "We want her to withdraw." Exactly. We want her to withdraw from the Gu industries for good. Otherwise, we won't take it lying down. We can't trust the master either. The master is so biased. As long as she's around, all of us won't feel at ease. Lin Che stood behind and looked at everyone. Slowly, she took a step forward. However, Gu Jingze nevertheless held her back by the arm. "Fine, since all of you are saying that." Gu Jingze pulled Lin Che's hand and intertwined all their fingers together. Then, he looked down with tenderness brimming in his eyes like sweet caramel. He looked at her calmly and tightened their fingers. "All withdraw from the Gu industries." Immediately, the venue turned deathly silent, as if the end of the world had arrived. What? He was going to withdraw from the Gu industries. How could he withdraw? Everyone looked at Gu Jingze. "Jingze, don't be rash." "Precisely. Jingze, are you threatening us?" Gu Jingze looked at everyone. "No, I've already made up my mind. I will withdraw from the Gu industries and resign from my position as the head of the family. From today onwards, I, Gu Jingze, will have nothing to do with the Gu industries. I would also like everyone to stop disturbing me and my wife." Lin Che was shocked. She looked up at Gu Jingze. Determination was written all over his side profile. It seemed that he had made this decision a long time ago and would not change his mind again. Lin Che did not know what best to say. She could only quietly hold his hands. Gu Jingze tilted his head to look at her and smiled. He said, "I will take away what's mine. As for what doesn't belong to me, I won't take any of it. Henceforth, I and the Gu industries will have nothing to do with each other. I too hope that everyone will enjoy a meteoric rise to success in the future. That without me, all of you can unite and work together with a common purpose. All right, I've finished what I wanted to say." Thereafter, Gu Jingze pulled Lin Che with him as he turned around and walked out. It sent a wave of fright through everyone. For a moment, they felt a sense of panic and helplessness. How could he give it up at the drop of a hat? The Gu Industries was such a huge business empire. Was he prepared to let go of it after simply saying so? Just because a woman? Jingze, you can't just wash your hands off it either. Jingze, you're being too impulsive. Let's have a proper discussion about this. All the clan relatives of the Gu family were slightly flustered. After all, something like this had never happened before. They too did not know what to do if the position of master was empty. Chaos like this had not happened in the Gu family for many years. They were genuinely unable to adjust to the situation at the moment. Especially as Gu Jingze's reputation, whether in society or on the international stage, was unmatched by anyone else's. They did not actually want Gu Jingze to abandon his position just like that. Just then, Shui Mengqi stepped forward and said, "All right. Perhaps the master is angry at the moment. Let's not get impatient. We can simply consider this at length and get someone to persuade him." Hearing this, they felt that Shui Mengqi's words were reasonable too. Who would simply let go of a family business as massive as that of the Gu family? Shui Mengqi looked at everyone before looking in the direction that Gu Jingze had left. Her thoughts had surged forth and she was unable to control herself. After returning to the Shui residence, Shui Mengqi quickly said, "Father, Gu Jingze has resigned from his position as the head of the family. No one else in the Gu family can fill the position right now. Wouldn't you say this is a great opportunity?" Shui Mengqi's father had already gotten wind of this incident from the reports of his subordinates. He asked, "What do you mean? You want to do it?" Shui Mengqi said, "I've always found it extremely unfair that I wasn't born in the direct line of descent. How am I worse than those men? Why is it that I can only be the mistress and not the head of the family? Father, help me, I can definitely obtain that position. When that happens, the Gu family will be under our rule. The Gu family will then change its surname to Shui." Shui Mengqi's father looked at the way she was puffed up with pride and hesitated beside her. He said, "Mengqi, you must bear in mind that the Gu family will definitely not be the Gu family of the past once Gu Jingze leaves." Shui Mengqi said, "I know that Gu Jingze will of course take with him his own businesses. But those are still not as big as the business of the entire Gu industries." "You're right, but you must not underestimate the Gu family's own businesses. The entire business of the Gu Industries is owned by all the members of the Gu family, including the clan relatives and the three major families in the direct line of descent. That's why it's frightfully massive. But in it, the businesses belonging to the direct descendants are the largest, and the remaining businesses are a bit scattered. This is the reason why the direct descendants of the Gu family are of such extraordinary status. Now that Gu Jingze has taken away that part of the business, the remaining part is a bit dispersed. It's difficult to manage." Shui Mengqi said, "The part that Gu Jingze will take with him merely takes up a larger percentage in the Gu Industries. So his family is the most prominent in the entire Gu Industries. But after he breaks off, the size of his businesses definitely won't compare to that of the entire Gu Industries. Thus, we'll still be bigger. Even if our businesses are scattered and difficult to manage, if someone can integrate them, we will definitely be one of the few families with such a huge empire, although we won't be as big as the Gu family of the past. So, how can we not try? This is definitely a good opportunity. Whether the members of the Shui family can hold their heads high and become the best men, without having to care about others' opinions, depends on what we do this time." Of course, Shui Mengqi's father was also very interested in what she was saying. Who would not want themselves to be superior to others? Shui Mengqi said, "The Gu family is currently in chaos. At a time like this, if the Shui family can get up there, the world will be under our rule." Shui Mengqi's father looked at Shui Mengqi and slowly clenched his fist. Their success or failure depended on what they did now. At worst, they would just fail. But if they succeeded, then their family's status would be incomparable in the future. Chapter 1267 I'm no longer the king from now on. Shui Mengqi's father looked at her. "All right, go ahead." Upon obtaining her father's approval, Shui Mengqi's face immediately glowed. Meanwhile, Gu Jingze started dividing the Gu family's businesses. He instructed people in the headquarters of the Gu Industries to tidy up and take away the items belonging to the direct descendants of the Gu family. Lin Che looked at Gu Jingze. She stood behind him and silently gazed at him. He directed them in an orderly manner, standing there like a king. She herself had sat in that position before. She knew that it was definitely no exaggeration to say that someone in that position had to attend to hundreds of important matters every day. Although someone in that position would be busy and have major responsibilities, it was bound to bring that person a sense of glory. Gu Jingze was born with the innate ability to deal with so many matters and to properly manage such a massive business. He had a sense of responsibility to do this as well. From a young age, it had been decided that he would be the head of the Gu family. However, he was about to leave this family now. Lin Che's heart ached a little for him. She also felt reluctant on his behalf. He should be the king standing right here. How terrible would he feel if he just left like this? Lin Che looked at him. Gu Jingze. He looked up and smiled at Lin Che. "What's the matter?" Lin Che stood up and walked towards him. Then, she placed her hands on him. "Are you sure about this? You're leaving the Gu family, your position as the head of the family. If I'm no longer the head of the Gu family, will you still stay with me?" He pulled her hands to his lips and gently kissed them. Lin Che said, "Of course I will. Do you think I'm with you because you're the head of the family?" Gu Jingze smiled. So, nothing will happen even if I leave the Gu family. It's fine for me to leave the Gu family. It's alright. Lin Che said, I just don't want you to regret it in the future. As long as you're by my side, I won't regret it. He smiled and looked at her. Lin Che hugged him. Whether or not you're the head of the Gu family, in my heart, you'll always be the strongest person I know. You're capable of doing anything. In this world, there will never be another man more amazing than you are. She looked at him. Even if you're no longer the ruler of this world, you're still the king in my heart. Gu Jingze looked at her, smiled, and patted her shoulder. Lin Che said, all right. Do you need me to do anything? Gu Jingze said, I need you to properly play the role of my wife. Lin Che, I've been thinking. Now that I've left the Gu family, there won't be so many things to deal with anymore. I hope that we can finally hold our wedding. Lin Che froze. This was so long overdue. Their second child, Xiuan, was already 2 years old. Why were they holding a wedding? Gu Jingze said, I've always said that I wanted to give you a proper wedding. But we've never had the chance. Now that the opportunity has arisen, we have plenty of time to plan our own wedding. I hope I can give you a wedding. The wedding I'll give you won't be the wedding of the head of the Gu family as in the past. This wedding will just be a wedding between you and me. Lin Che's heart warmed. She looked at Gu Jingze, feeling very touched at the fact that he was still thinking about this matter now. Blushing, she said, do whatever you want to do. He kissed her on the forehead. I want to give you a wedding you won't forget for a lifetime. I will plan this wedding carefully. You can just rest at ease and be the bride. The two of them were locked in an embrace as they leaned against each other. They did not know how much time had passed when he then continued asking people to arrange the documents. The news that Gu Jingze was going to leave the Gu family for good and had resigned from his position as the head of the family was making its rounds to a limited extent in their circle. But the Gu family had deliberately cut off this information. Thus, most people were still unaware of it. The Gu family was still in an internal mess at the moment. The family had been split into 2 factions. One faction was of the view that they had to persuade Gu Jingze to return. The other faction hoped to select another master. Because although the Gu family was one entity that shared honor and shame, each family had always operated its own business. However, in principle, they had to be in line with the entire Gu family. They had to move at the same pace as everyone too. Therefore, even if Gu Jingze suddenly resigned from his position as the head of the family, nothing much would go wrong either if the Gu family had no leader. After Gu Jingze took away the businesses of the direct descendants, the Gu family did seem a bit weaker. However, a lean camel was ultimately bigger than a horse. The Gu family was nevertheless the most powerful family in the whole of C Nation. When the entire family was having a meeting and brought up the issue of the master's position, someone said, Jingze has been rash this time. He's nothing if he leaves the Gu family. In the past, he could summon the wind and the rain in C Nation. Once he leaves the Gu family, he'll be left with nothing. He will be nothing. After thinking about it carefully, he won't leave so easily either. I think he'll return. Exactly. He can't be thinking that our family can't function without him, right? If that's the case, then he thinks too highly of himself. Is he waiting for us to beg him to come back? That's impossible. On the contrary, if he wants to come back now, he has to seek approval from all of us. Hearing this, the people from the opposing faction felt even more scornful of them inside. They spoke as if Gu Jingze would starve to death if he was alone outside. At the moment, everyone sat together to nominate someone who could temporarily fulfill the role. Among them, many of the clan relatives nominated Shui Mengqi. After all, Shui Mengqi was basically their representative at this point. On top of that, the Shui family had given them many benefits in private as well. Thus, Shui Mengqi was probably the person with the greatest support among them. But at the same time, because there was some disagreement from the families which wanted Gu Jingze to return, no action was taken. All of the matters handled by the headquarters had now been handed over to the families to deal with jointly. The situation was slightly messy. Shui Mengqi was also among these families and was handling these matters in the headquarters. She looked at the office in the headquarters. From outside, the office did not in fact look that eye-catching. But its interior resembled an underground palace. She looked at it. She wondered if a sense of grandeur emanated from every corner of this place because it symbolized the highest power of the entire Gu family. As she looked at it, she could not help but be fascinated. Especially when she thought about how Gu Jingze had sat on this exact office chair in the past while commanding all his horses and men. So many people of the Gu family had rushed about at his instruction. She genuinely yearned to be the same. It seemed that she was itching to rise to that position and to make all the people of the Gu family bow before her. She truly felt addicted to the feeling of being a king. In the future, was her name going to make its rounds in the business world, just as Gu Jingze's name had? Was her name going to strike fear in the hearts of many people too? And were people going to say that she was vicious and merciless, yet have no choice but to submit to her power? When she thought how this had been the case for Gu Jingze, she felt that it would definitely be the same for her once she was in that position. Chapter 1268 The Gu family is nothing without Gu Jingze. Shui Mengqi looked at the security guards outside. After Gu Jingze had taken his guards with him, these guards were all new. They had been stationed here by the Gu family's clan relatives. They were still not familiar with this place, so they looked much more inexperienced than the former security guards in the headquarters. But there was a group of them who had been there previously, as the former security guards at the headquarters were not comprised only of Gu Jingze's guards. A few other security guards had been stationed there by the clan relatives. However, since they were in name employed by the clan relatives, Gu Jingze could not take them with him. Thus, they could only look on helplessly as Gu Jingze left. They themselves appeared slightly awkward here. After all of them had been tasked to protect Gu Jingze back then. Now that Gu Jingze was gone, they were not well received by the clan relatives since they had protected Gu Jingze before. The clan relatives would definitely suspect that these people had pledged loyalty to Gu Jingze. On Gu Jingze's end, there was absolutely no way he would bring them with him since they were originally with the clan relatives. Therefore, as they looked at the newbies right now, they could not help but find them amateur. If Gu Jingze was around, people of their caliber would not even qualify to get into the headquarters. However, as the clan relatives did not have sufficient manpower, all the people they had sent here were those who had just started training. Shui Mengqi looked on and called the veterans in immediately. Since early on, she had wanted to have her own personal guards. However, she and the rest did not qualify for it. In the past, when she saw that Gu Jingze's personal guards were so formidable, had absolute loyalty towards him, and put their master before them everywhere they went, she felt jealous beyond compare. But at the time, everyone would definitely have made a joke out of her if she said she wanted personal guards. The Gu family would not train personal guards for them, and it would further expose her ambition. So, Shui Mengqi could only envy him in her heart and dared not say a word. But things were different now. Gu Jingze had left and the clan relatives were managing the headquarters. She was perfectly well placed to bring it up. As a result, she immediately took a look at the security guards currently in her home, only to realize that not one of them could match up to Gu Jingze's personal guards. Whether in terms of their capability or experience, they could not compare. Personal guards like them would merely be personal guards in name. They would be no different from ordinary security guards either. After looking over and over again, she still felt that the security guards at the headquarters back then were the best. She also understood that the people chosen by Gu Jingze would definitely be different from others. They would definitely have gone through many rounds of selection. Naturally, they were much better than others. In no time, she gathered everyone to the office. Then, she smiled and said, "Congratulations, all of you. I'm telling all of you now that you've become personal guards. Henceforth, you will no longer be ordinary security guards. You will have your own organization, your responsibilities and your own mission." In the Gu family, becoming a personal guard was an extremely high honor. Because only the strongest people, the elites during training and actual operations, could be selected to become personal guards. Becoming a personal guard also meant that you were the strongest. Thus, when she said that they were going to be personal guards, she was basically congratulating all of them. However, the people in front looked at each other without any joy on their faces at all. They had no reaction to this at all. Shui Mengqi asked, "Why is it that all of you don't want this honor?" However, condescension was written all over everyone's faces when they looked at the haughty Shui Mengqi. "Miss Shui, whose personal guards are we?" The Gu family doesn't have a master anymore. Shui Mengqi said, there's no master now. But there will be in the future. In that case, let's talk about this again when a master is chosen in the future. Shui Mengqi's expression changed completely. What do all of you mean by this? The people in front said, all personal guards serve the head of the family and the people whom the master instructs them to serve. The first master they follow after leaving the training camp is their master for life. At the moment, we don't have a master, nor are we fresh out of the training camp, so we're not suitable. Shui Mengqi said, those rules were made by people. Naturally, they can also be changed by people. What's the point then? You can just instruct us as security guards. Personal guards like these would no longer be the most powerful personal guards of the past. Shui Mengqi looked at these people. She could clearly sense the obvious disdain with which they treated her. They did not have much respect for her at all. Shui Mengqi slammed the table. Get this straight, all of you. Right now, the Gu family doesn't have a master anymore. But we are still your masters. The Gu family has not dissolved and I, Shui Mengqi, am one of the main people running it now. They scoffed. But you're not Mr. Gu. You guys don't want to work anymore, right? A place like this is no longer suitable for us to stay, he said. Shui Mengqi's face turned ashen. She could not believe that they were rolling their eyes at her when she harbored good intentions of promoting them. She felt all the more so when she saw that he was not the only one with such an expression. Nearly everyone had such an expression. One after another, they said, exactly. Our master isn't Mr. Gu, and the people outside are all sissies fresh out of the training camp. How lame. I can't believe such weak people have the nerve to come to the headquarters. The headquarters will never be the headquarters of the past. Precisely. There's no point in us being here anymore. It's better for us to resign and seek Mr. Gu out. Sure, let's go and look for Mr. Gu. The entire row of people started to make noise. Shui Mengqi was truly dumbfounded. Over here, all else aside, just the salary alone was impossibly tempting. But they actually wanted to resign and look for Gu Jingze. Were they serious? Hey, you guys, Shui Mengqi gritted her teeth. Fine, go ahead and look for him. The current Gu Jingze is no longer the Gu Jingze of the past too. He's no longer the head of the Gu family. He's merely an ordinary wealthy man. As compared to the Gu family, he's nothing now. In the future, the Gu family will definitely target him and squeeze whatever he has now, completely dry. If you follow him, you can forget about ever getting the honor and salary you have here. When that happens, all of you will just go cold and hungry. They scoffed briefly and looked at Shui Mengqi. We're perfectly willing to go cold and hungry as long as we're with Mr. Gu. Exactly. Who is Mr. Gu? Do you think just anyone can become Gu Jingze? If there's even one person among you idiots who is stronger than Mr. Gu, I'll walk on my knees. All of you added up can't even compare to one Mr. Gu. Yet you still want to go against Mr. Gu. While speaking, they removed the uniform they were wearing immediately and threw their uniforms aside with their badges. Without Mr. Gu, the Gu family crest is just rubbish. They walked out immediately after throwing their uniforms aside. They left Shui Mengqi behind alone. She looked at the uniforms and badges on the ground. She was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Gu Jingze was idling about at home. After withdrawing from the Gu family, he accompanied Lin Che to her company. Lin Che said, there's nothing else to do for the game now. But before this, we nearly got a lawsuit on our hands. Gu Jingze said, with your level of intelligence, it's possible that you didn't take everything into consideration. Chapter 1269 Gu Jingze came for an inspection. Nonsense. It's clearly because Shui Mengqi's tricks are too complicated. The corners of Gu Jingze's lips turned up and he shook his head. Lin Che went inside while giving Gu Jingze an introduction. This is the general work area. That's the technical work area. Over here, we have the copywriters and the editors. Looks like you have quite a number of people here. Yes. Initially, it was just our own studio, so there were only a few people. Subsequently, we needed much more manpower, so we hired many more employees. Because Gu Jingze had lost his memories recently, she had not mentioned certain things to him. As she ran the company in the past, he would often give her many suggestions. She would ask Gu Jingze random questions at home and he would enlighten her at once. So to speak, the fact that the game could proceed so quickly was inextricably linked to Gu Jingze's assistance. However, when Gu Jingze subsequently lost his memory, he no longer remembered that she was running a company. Thus, she did not ask him about company-related matters anymore. Midway, there were indeed more and more employees in the company. The company had hired a significant number of newbies at one go, to assist in copywriting and technical matters. The studio was also split into several departments. Among the employees, KG was the head of the technical department. Now, everyone called him Director K. As for Crooked Neck, he was a team leader in the technical department. Usually, he was also in charge of some other business affairs. Upon seeing Lin Che and Gu Jingze enter, everyone was curious and wondered who he was. However, they didn't dare to shoot their mouths off and ask. They merely felt that perhaps he was of the same profession as Lin Che since his looks were so outstanding. If that was the case, he would definitely hit the big time in the future given his looks. He was so handsome that it nearly made people stop breathing. However, inside, when Crooked Neck looked up and saw Gu Jingze, he immediately knocked over the glass of water in his hand. Beside him, his roommate and good friend, who was now also responsible for technical matters, started crying out in alarm, "What the hell? I just finished the code. I'll definitely kill you if you ruined the computer." Crooked Neck said, "What code? Seriously, look at who's here." By this time, Crooked Neck had quickly cleared his throat and stood up. Only then did the people around him see that Lin Che had brought someone here. But who was this person? Who? Get lost. Anyway, he's a god. Move aside. Crooked Neck hastily walked towards them. Sister Che. Oh, this must be brother-in-law. He was already calling him brother-in-law. What an intimate way of addressing him. Lin Che nearly spluttered, but when she looked at Gu Jingze beside her, he unexpectedly showed no reaction at all. He even seemed quite pleased to be called brother-in-law. Although he remained expressionless as usual, the hint of tenderness in his eyes was a sign that he was in a good mood. Lin Che glared at Crooked Neck. However, Crooked Neck felt extremely rejuvenated. How many people would die of envy at hearing him call Gu Jingze brother-in-law? He himself had never expected such a day to come. Brother-in-law, this way, please. Sister Che's expression is always blissful when she mentions you. I'm genuinely envious to death. Today, I'm finally seeing brother-in-law in the flesh. Are you here to conduct an inspection for Sister Che? Gu Jingze looked at Lin Che. She quickly looked down. She had to say that this Crooked Neck was seriously used to bootlicking. It was too much a habit. He sucked up to anyone. When had she ever mentioned him all day? She had clearly never brought him up. Gu Jingze quirked up his lip corners. When it came to his own wife, he still understood her thoroughly. Lin Che definitely would not mention him to outsiders for no reason. On the contrary, she would basically never mention her own husband out of worry that it would affect him negatively. She had always been independent and did not make herself out to be a submissive woman outside. However, he did not expose Crooked Neck's flattering either. He merely smiled and looked at a sheepish Lin Che. Lin Che said, "Enough. Crooked Neck, stop spouting nonsense." She slapped Crooked Neck on his arm. He laughed mischievously. "It's because I'm too excited to meet brother-in-law." Gu Jingze looked inside. It looks like the company is progressing quite well. How insincere this sentence sounded. Lin Che thought to herself. In the skyscraper of the GU Industries, one department alone had hundreds of people, but there was not even 100 people in the entirety of their tiny studio. This office was an ordinary and simple office. It was absolutely no match for the campus at the GU Industries, which was completely modern and appeared extremely high-end, elegant and classy everywhere. However, they were very content with this place. It was especially so for Crooked Neck and the others. Now, they had their own office and could work independently, without having to squeeze behind small tables to write codes. If they wanted to eat something, they could also use the kitchen in the back to make something to eat. The canteen was downstairs and someone could deliver food to them anytime. It was different from the situation at the school dormitory previously, where they wrote codes late into the night but could only eat some instant noodles to satisfy their hunger. Thus, they were genuinely very satisfied with the current situation. Crooked Neck said, "Sister Che has set up everything in a fantastic manner. Sister Che did all of this. We're living comfortably with Sister Che leading us. Lin Che glared at him. You're sucking up to me again. Crooked Neck said, I'm speaking the truth. Look, Sister Che, all of us have people working under us now. On top of that, KG is even a director now. But I think he's really not used to being called Director K. The moment someone calls him that, he hides inside to code. Tisk, tisk, but among us, he's the one who likes having his own office. Look, he's always nestled inside. Seeing that he was still in the general work area outside and was not going in despite having an office inside, she asked him, why aren't you using the office inside? Crooked Neck said, we still prefer being outside where it's noisy. It's too quiet inside, so we can't really code. How nice is it to be able to speak to each other while coding? Inside, we'll be alone. After coding for some time, we won't know what to say. We're different from KG. He likes to be alone and silent for no reason. Lin Che instinctively smiled when she heard this. But she nevertheless greatly appreciated how authentic they were. They were not pretentious at all. By creating a noisy environment like this, it instead made their relationship very good. At this moment, they walked towards KG's office. When Crooked Neck opened the door, he immediately said, KG, boss. Quick, look who's here. KG turned his head. When he saw Gu Jingze, his eyes paused for a moment. Afterward, his gaze shifted to Lin Che beside him. His eyes shifted again from Lin Che to Gu Jingze. His gaze changed before he stood up. Crooked Neck went on, Mr. Gu's presence in our office truly brings light to our humble dwelling. Good gracious, I saw all of those young girls looking this way earlier. Look, the moment Mr. Gu came, the young girls in the office all stopped looking at me. In the past, all of them were my loyal protectors. They can't withstand it now. I think their eyes are itching to fly over here. Gu Jingze smiled. He remained silent while listening to Crooked Neck chatter on. KG stared at Gu Jingze. Mr. Gu. Gu Jingze returned KG's gaze. For a long time, Lin Che did not know the extent to which they had communicated using their eyes, nor did she know what information they had exchanged. In any case, for some reason, the way they were looking at each other felt strange to Lin Che. Chapter 1270 Gu Jingze, the Jealous Lover. It took a moment for KG to reply. I'm still writing the codes. Sorry I couldn't come out to receive you. Gu Jingze looked at his computer and saw the game's graphics on the screen. He said, oh, this game isn't too bad. KG replied, thank you. This is all due to Lin Che's efforts. Gu Jingze answered, not really, she actually doesn't know much. She has been singing your praises at home and that you guys have helped her a lot. Not at all. Lin Che is very smart. It's just that she lacks the experience. Lin Che said, yes, I'm very smart now. Look, I'm always the frontrunner in the game, super powerful and of super rank. Gu Jingze looked at her. Are you sure it isn't because they've given you lots of resources that allowed you to rise up the ranks so easily? Sigh. Crooked Neck let out a sigh. It was quite true. Every time Lin Che got defeated in the game, she would send a message to say, Crooked Neck, I've dropped a rank. Help me level up quickly, I refuse to admit defeat. The opponent defeated me too easily. I'm sure there's a bug. Then, Crooked Neck could only help her edit the data in the game, and then she slowly leveled up again. It was Gu Jingze no doubt. He knew Lin Che through and through. Crooked Neck said, oh no, Sister Che is quite formidable. She even won a few of the team battles we had. Another classmate nearby did not spare any feelings and said, that was because of KG's prowess. He single-handedly brought 4 players to attack the opponents until they had no way out. Crooked Neck said, it was because of Sister Che's cooperation as well. Sister Che is actually more suited to be the aide. It was only because of Sister Che and KG's great team spirit that we won so easily. The mention of this had that classmate acknowledging it as well. Oh yes, Sister Che and KG make good partners. As long as KG is aware of his position and when Sister Che goes over, he knows exactly her intentions and is able to match it up. That is because KG is very smart and acts fast. He is able to predict accurately. There is no doubt that you will be able to get him to play in an international league, let alone a small battle in a game. Gu Jingze said at this moment, oh, you guys let Lin Che play frequently. Yes, Sister Che knows how to get her way. Crooked Neck started to get excited, unable to control himself when it came to sharing stories about Lin Che. However, he did not notice that Gu Jingze was beginning to turn sour and start glaring at him. Although it did not show on his face, one could see the bitterness through Gu Jingze's eyes. Lin Che noticed the situation and started to make faces at Crooked Neck in an attempt to get him to stop. But Crooked Neck never figured it out. She was more dependent when she first started, always getting KG to go to her rescue. Out of nowhere, she would start shouting, "KG, quickly come and save me, great God, please save me, great God, I'm being surrounded." Ha 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 ha, I could not stop laughing. It got better after a while. It's really not bad that she can partner up now. Lin Che started to pray silently when she saw Gu Jingze's gaze intensified. Please, please, please don't act up. Don't act up here. It was a relief when Gu Jingze seemed to not pay attention to Crooked Neck and only look at KG. Really, actually, I know a thing or two about the game. KG replied, "Oh, Mr. Gu knows how to play this game too." Gu Jingze answered, "Since it's Lin Che's game, I'll definitely give my support." "Really, how's your progress in the game?" KG asked. Gu Jingze said, "I'm not too sure, I haven't played for a while. There's a computer here, I could use some guidance from you." Was it only Lin Che who felt the murderous aura from Gu Jingze's eyes? She felt that he did not want to play the game, but wanted to use it and pretend that he killed someone. However, nobody seemed to notice the voice in her heart. Crooked Neck was still excitedly saying, "We don't have much in our company, but we do have many computers. It'll be great if Mr. Gu wants to play. You can see the skills our KG have for yourself." "Oh, extremely brilliant." Gu Jingze curled his lips. "Sure thing." Lin Che was frantic by the side. "Gu Jingze, if you want to play this, you don't have an account. Why not use mine?" Lin Che joined him in an attempt to please him, hoping that he would cool down and would not take it out on her later. Gu Jingze knew what she was thinking, briefly looked at her and said, "No need, I have an account. Just take a seat. We'll talk about our problem when we are home." I'm dead, I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm going to get chided when we get home." She turned around and glared fiercely at Crooked Neck, who caused her trouble when there wasn't one to begin with. Crooked Neck had no idea that Gu Jingze was a jealous person and was oblivious to what he had said. He was quite confused when he got glared at. "Come, Mr. Gu, take a seat here. I'll let you use my computer. I just updated my configurations. It'll be great for the game." Their computers were self-built and had special capacities. Lin Che had tried using and thought they were indeed better than those brands put out for sale. She wondered about their brains. How could they have come up with such amazing computers? Gu Jingze said thanks coldly. Sitting across KG meant he could not see his computer screen but only his face. KG glanced at Gu Jingze and started the game on his computer. Gu Jingze also started the computer on his side. Lin Che hurried over to Gu Jingze's side and stayed behind him, trying to get into his good books. Gu Jingze could not be bothered with her and entered his password. Lin Che was surprised. Hey, wasn't this the code that she had given him in the past? When did he activate it and started playing? While she was still in a surprise, she saw that Gu Jingze was connected to the game. The moment she saw his ranking, she thought, what the heck? He already soared to the top. This was definitely the highest rank in the game. There was nobody else at a higher placing. She took another look at his name. It was just a boring symbol. X. Lin Che usually did not pay attention to the leaderboard, but seeing Gu Jingze's name, it was on the entire area's leaderboard. It had overall statistics, wealth, abilities, attacks are all recorded there. Gu Jingze was already in the top 10. As the frontrunners were extremely formidable, they were frequently mentioned in the area. So those behind with the X were not as famous. However, Lin Che never knew that this low-laying X was Gu Jingze. However, now that she had seen his code, she felt that it suited him. Whether it was the name or his keeping a low profile in the past. Without any gang or allies, just a lone person who was idling and wandering around was quite Gu Jingze. On the other hand, Crooked Neck was surprised as well. Looking at Gu Jingze, he never imagined that this high-ranking player that he had always wanted to connect with was actually Gu Jingze.